Sarah, shut it off. I'm going to get copyright infringement. She really popped in now. But 3 watching. Somebody, if you can hear me, put a comment, please, whoever's watching. Hello? 3 people watching. Could somebody put a comment, tell me if you can hear me or not? Hi, Jim. I'm assuming, can you hear what I'm saying okay? Could you please put in yes or no? Could somebody please type yes or no to whether you can hear me speak? Yes, you can hear me, no problem, Maz. Thank you very much. It's to let you know, folks, I'm having a technical difficulties. I don't know what's happened. I took my phone in for repair, just a simple charging point repair, and it blew a control for there. And so the guy sent me up another phone. But the problem is, whatever he's done while downloading the data from this phone to put it into the other phone that he's setting up for me, he's wiped out my ability to hear anything right across all my platforms. I can't hear any video sound, and that might affect the 2 Davies tomorrow. David and I are going to do a test with each other in Restream later to see if I can hear him, because at this point in time, whatever this guy did, because all my devices are synced, he's managed to wipe out the volume on media and my phone, on my computer, and on my pad. I'm assuming it's because they're all linked through Google Chrome. But I'm afraid at this point in time, if I play a video, I don't get any sound. If I try to play music, no sound. Now, it's not my speakers because I've checked. I've put them onto a different device. Put them onto a totally separate device. An old-fashioned radio, actually. Plugged them into that and the speakers are working fine. So it's a problem that's happened as he's been downloading this data. Somehow he's managed to make all my devices mute when it comes to playing media files. Unbelievable. Now, Eddie, that's why I couldn't come into the cafe last night. I couldn't hear anything. I have no doubt that I now know that you guys can hear me. There are a couple of things I need to do. I need to check and make sure that I can also share on this platform, because that's what my newspaper review does. So I had a wee look at the Sunday papers, and I'm going to pull up the headline in the National, because this one's important, and it takes us back to the late 70s, early 80s, and rock against racism and the Lewisham riots. And some of us are old enough to have remembered the news reports anyway, because it was happening south of the border. Scotland's 96% white. It wasn't an issue. I'm hoping we get it sorted as well, June, because hopefully David and I will be able to do it on my mobile device. And because on my mobile device, if I use the internal speakers without putting audio, the audio on, meaning loudspeaker, then my device works fine. But it's media. If I play a YouTube video, no sound, nothing. But I want to check, make sure all the settings are alright on this, so I'm going to put up the National's headline. Because it's something I wanted to talk to you about anyway, folks. So let's make sure that still works. Share the screen. Oh, can't I? Put it back onto that one. Now what we've got here is victory in Perth. Anti-racism activists celebrate success of counter-protest. And Home Office is dividing Scots communities by dictating where money for refugees / asylum seekers can be spent. But the reason for the counter-protest thing, that's going to become very important, folks, as we combat the far right. This is what happened back in the end of the 70s and the end of the 80s to kill off the National Front, the early 80s to kill off the National Front. Rock Against Racism came to the fore, and every time the National Front took to the streets, ordinary people took to the streets in much greater numbers. And that's going to have to happen again. Because looking at the sights I've seen right across these islands, including here in Scotland this weekend, is deplorable. And I mean deplorable. These people have travelled vast distances, escaping conflict, generally created by our banking sectors and the will to sell weapons, meaning our mass industrial complex and our so-called first government in Westminster, meddling in geopolitics along with its imperial master across the pond. But it was something I did want to speak about. We are going to have to counter-protest these people if we're going to stop the rise of the right, if we're going to stop this racist shit that disappeared in the 90s and the early 2000s. Spearheaded by our generation, the generation that put down the National Front. We're going to have to do it again. And we're going to have to do it in greater numbers. Every time there's a protest about asylum seekers outside an accommodation block for them, because there are no hotels, folks. They stop being the hotels, they become detention centres, to be fair. Holding centres. And this idea that they're living in luxury. A single room for a couple would then be turned into a room for 4 young men, 5 young men, maybe a family. But we are going to have to stop this. The milk of human kindness is being drained from us by the media and the likes of Farage and Tommy Ted names. We've beaten them before. The National Front was put out of business and prescribed. We're going to have to do the same with Reform, Advance, and they are fronting for a new form of National Front. And the Conservatives at this point in time, to be fair. And the Labour Party at this point in time, to be fair. They're all mimicking each other. But there's no international solidarity left in that Labour movement. None. It's headed up by a Zionist racist called Starmer. He's also a fucking fascist. But as I say, we, the generation that put the front of our business before, the tail end of the boomers and the beginning of the Gen X's, 65 onwards, we're going to have to put them back in their box again. Pete's music, yes, I've tried turning it off, turning it on, yes, I've tried all the settings, I've tried it all, even took it back to show. I think back tomorrow when the guy actually did the repairs in. They say we're downloading information off my mobile to put onto another one for me. As you all know, the phone's very important to us. That's the very stuff Hashberry stumbles, you're right. Rock Against Racism and the Anti-Nazi League. That's what beat them the last time round, and that's what we're going to have to reform. Something like that. Now, what happened in Perth yesterday was a success for like-minded, sane people who realise there's only one race, the human race. Just the one. If we weren't the one race, we couldn't crossbreed. Well, the one race, the human race. And we're going to have to put these dickheads down again. Lucy and I have done a couple of anti-fascist protests. We did one in Glasgow, that got a bit heated. At the steps at Buchanan Street. Scared the shit out of Sarah. We did one in Iowa, where the police had to put them back in trains because there was so many of us. The fascists pooed their nappies. But they are being emboldened by the press deliberately. And we're going to have to mass protest they fuckers as well. So keyboard warriors, when they pull this stuff, batter the press in the comment section. Batter the right-wing loonies in the comment sections on social media. especially. Split the country. What they're trying to do is keep communities split so that they can keep the union together, keep England together, and keep Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland tied to England and its wee empire. But I'm hearing an awful lot of civil war coming down that road. I predicted it myself. And it's getting close. And it's being fueled by the mainstream media and by the politicians. They're supposed to be elected to serve us all, no matter ethnicity, religion, or anything else. They're there to serve us as a people, but they're there dividing us. They're creating a situation which allows them to keep control while everything else is out of fucking control. It also allows them to stamp down on our civil liberties. As I say, the rise of the right is being spurred on by the likes of Murdoch, the Bartley brothers, the owners of the mainstream media, and at this point in time, 3 political parties. 4 actually, if we advance UK, UKIP, make it 5. I say it's being deliberately done to the people of England, and it's starting to cross the border because they realise they've got to do the same with us. Because if we don't all look uniform, then we're no union. But they're a bit late for that shit. Devolution put an end to that uniform stuff. We've diverged on taxes. We've diverged on NHS. We've always been diverged on education. We've got a totally different culture. But they've got to infect our culture and appeal to our knuckle draggers. And we're going to have to sort them out ourselves. Nobody else is going to sort it out. So the tail end of the boomers, start of the Gen X, we put the National Front down. We're going to have to put Farage and his mob out of business as well. Because, believe me, these cunts are the cunts in front of you. Starmer sees opportunity here because while the country's divided, nobody's pulling him up in his complicity in a genocide. If you can create internal strife, that will allow the vast industrial military complex to continue to supply weapons to regimes which are committing genocide and which will in the future, and to stoke wars elsewhere. But what's happening here? Hi, Sir Larry. What's happening here? Your video, by the way, on the Shady Bunch, that's what we're talking about now, Sir Larry. Rock against racism and having to put the far right down again, the anti-Nazi League, the Lewisham riots. We are going to have to put these people down. Every time they come out to protest one of these facilities, we're going to have to overwhelm them with our might and scare them to shite. Put them back behind their curtains, twitching, with their gobs shut, so that the rest of us can go on and build a cohesive society. Which isn't really that big a problem here in Scotland. We have a cohesive society. But we've got this element sneaking in, trying to divide it. And we need to guard against that. We need to stop that from happening now. We need to get organised. And when there's one of these protests outside facilities, housing those who need our help the most, then we have to show up and tell them, no, our name, we're Ojock Thompson's Burns. No matter what colour or creed or religion you are, we're Ojock Thompson's Burns. And if you live in Scotland, you're a Scot. End of fucking story. You live by our rules, our culture, and we thank you for bringing the experience of your culture with you, especially when it comes to food, because let's face it, our food was bland as fuck for a while. Tatties, neeps and fucking mince. And twice a year a wee bit of haggis. Aye, City Flyer. We we need to get organised. When these people have protests outside these places, we who still hold the milk of human kindness, communities like ours and every community need to get out and say, not in our name. We need to cuddle these asylum seekers and let them know that they are the minority, we are the majority, and that they're welcome here. And that we will help mend these people. We will help put them back on the straight and narrow. We will help them get out of their trauma, their torment, and let them function again in a society that's free and where they can live in peace and prosper. That's important. It's important that when these fucking knuckle draggers show out to protest the brown man, we show out and cuddle the brown man and say, this is our brother. Fuck off. If you don't accept our brother, then we're not accepting you. And there's many as much as you. Simple as that. We are going to have to do something about this, folks. And I am really, really angry about this. What I've witnessed in the press this weekend, I'm glad this is working so I can talk to you about it because I'm getting real frustrated with it, as you can see. Now, obviously, I've been running about doing other things myself, but I'll be watching social media. And when one of these protests pop up in my area, and there's an anti-protest going on, I will be there. I will be there. I will be there to say no in my name. I'll be there to say we're all Jock Thompson friends. I will be there to tell these knuckle draggers to fuck off and get themselves sorted. Alright? Now, I'm glad you guys can hear me. I'm glad I can still share, because that means then, at least, if the two Davies can't go ahead tomorrow, because David and I can't hear each other, I can't hear David, at least at the Indie Truck Davy platform we'll go ahead in the morning. Right? Now, folks, I'm serious about this. The scenes that we are witnessing in England and creeping into Scotland are disgusting. It's heartbreaking. After we put this shit to bed, when we banned things like Love Thy Neighbour and Jim Davison giving it honk honk, chalky.
David, that was fun back in the day.
It was very fucking funny when you think about what they were doing. They were raping.
I know that now. But we didn't take it as prejudice. We took it.
We did. That's why we banned it. We did take it as prejudice. We seen it as encouraging prejudice. So that's why we banned it. Hey, as for your worry about your son watching GB News, take a plug off his telly. I imagine he doesn't stay at home with you anymore. I'd be worried about that as well, mate. I would. Now, folks, I need to go on to David and see if we can actually hear each other on Restream. Restream's a different platform altogether. If you can hear me, then and I can hear him, then every chance things will be fine tomorrow afternoon. But if not, after the end of Talk David tomorrow morning, I'm straight back to the phone show till we get this sorted. Because I can't have all my media platforms and I'm not able to hear any media. That's not good to me. But this wee test is to let me know that you can hear me. And that's the main thing. As I say, I'm glad I got a chance to discuss this issue with you today. It's an issue I'm very passionate about, and I'm sure you all are too. What we are witnessing is the demonisation of the weakest among us. People who desperately need our help. And as a community here who understand that the government in Westminster has created such circumstances where we actually put our own shoulder to the wheel. And as a community raise money to help those less fortunate than us within our communities. We understand that. We understand that the milk of human kindness is the way forward. We understand that cohesion in our communities is the way forward. And I mean that sincerely. And here in Scotland, it hasn't been a problem till now. It's never been a problem. We didn't ghettoise these people. We put them into our communities, they integrated well, As I say, I told a wee story the other day there about being in the supermarket, 4 young lasses during the summer holiday, all wearing the same hot pants, same trainers, same t-shirts, but two of them stood out, and yet nobody noticed except for me. And I was just smiling at it. And what was I noticed? Two lasses in the hot pants and wee t-shirts and all that. Two teenage lasses. Oh, nice wee lasses. They were all wearing headdresses to cover their hair because they were Muslim. Apart from that, I've never noticed. Nobody even noticed these wee lasses in headdresses on. That's how common it is. They were speaking the same as their pals. They were about the same height, healthy kids. It wasn't even short pants. It was during the summer there. They were in short pants and wee t-shirts. That was a young kid's day, as we all did as kids. I said the only difference was two of them were wearing a headdress. And nobody noticed. Why? Because it's just an everyday event. See, I didn't notice it. Nobody noticed it. Why? Because it's normal. It's part of society. It's integrated. Same with all. I mean, doing this there for me, they're lovely. Lovely people who moved here from Africa. They were fleeing persecution. And they're beautiful people, great people, lovely people. And nobody notices the colour of their skin. Nobody. And nobody fucking cares. Nobody notices their religion. And nobody fucking cares. We only have one rule in Scotland. Good guy wanker. That's going to be our award system. That's going to be our civil system. When you're getting ordered by your future society, when we become independent, there will be one award. That'll be good guy, wanker. That's all we notice here. And these fascists, these racists, they come under the wanker category. See you morning, 10:30. Thanks very much for tuning in to this impromptu broadcast. Hopefully I can get my media problem sorted out very, very quickly. Bye for now.